What's up, everyone? We're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now, if you watched yesterday's YouTube video, we actually went perfect, going 3 out of 3 on picks from yesterday's video. However, I also did want to show you yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group because we actually got 22 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now, a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got one pick wrong and got 22 right, which is a 95% win rate. Yes, guys, you heard that right. 95% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 95% win rate and get 22 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which should be a link down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $475 just yesterday, and another member who won $235 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. Also want to give a quick shout to Stephen Boyle M5G, who said you are on fire, man, keep it coming, and also shouts out to Jez032163, who said let's go. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to be talking about is Sabrina Ionescu. Now this one's a fantastic one for 18.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Sabrina Ionescu, we've actually seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those last 5 games, we see on May 23rd, faced off against Chicago, where she had 16 points there. May 25th, faced off against Indiana, she had 23 points. Then, on back-to-back games against Golden State, she had 8 points in that first game. And then on May 30th, against Golden State again, had 24 points. And then on May 31st, had 28 points against Washington. So, we have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5, like I mentioned, and her average over the last 5 is also 19.8. So it is slightly above this line, but looking at this next matchup, we do see Sabrina Ionescu and the New York Liberty face off against Connecticut Sun. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting game. And looking where both at these teams actually rank, we do see something pretty interesting. We do see that New York Liberty have done a fantastic job this season because they actually find themselves at the #1 spot in the WNBA. As you know, New York Liberty have a 6-0 record. So they have 6 wins, no losses, 100% win rate. They have been absolutely fantastic. And they face off against Connecticut Sun. Now, Connecticut Sun on the other side, they are in a bit of a different situation because they actually rank 12th with a 1-5 record. So they have a 16.7% win percentage. So these are pretty much 2 teams facing off against each other from different sides of the rankings. Now, looking at Connecticut Sun and how they actually do defensively, especially as this one is for points, we do see that Connecticut Sun do actually rank, when it comes to points allowed, they do rank 11th. So why do we like the under for this situation, however? Now, a big reason why we do like the under for this situation is for 2 reasons. Now, although Connecticut Sun do rank low when it comes to points allowed, we actually do see that, Connecticut Sun are in a situation where they are going to be a potential blowout matchup. And if this is a potential blowout matchup, we could see Sabrina actually, get sent off quite early. Now, on top of that, we also are expecting, because Connecticut Sun's defense really does hone in and focus in on stars. And what we have seen Connecticut Sun, although, they have been losing, we have seen their defensive strategies, especially by their coaches, really be to restrict the stars of, these better teams and restrict them as much as they can, whether it's points, rebounds, and assists, and allow the other players to kind of do a lot more of the scoring, rebounding, or playmaking. So for someone like Sabrina, we are expecting a lot of the attention from Connecticut Sun to be sent her way, whether that's double teams, certain types of defensive strategies, all these different things we are taking all into account because we should see Sabrina go on the under for those 2 reasons. Like I mentioned, the blowout situation is definitely possible when you look at what the bookies are saying. Bookies also have her favored as well to go on the under, and also have this game favored to actually be a blowout situation. And as we all know, blowout situations do lead to stars getting taken off early, as they don't want to risk them getting any injured, especially in a game where it pretty much does look like there may already be a winner. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for a situation like this. Although Liberty do rank very well, Connecticut Sun are also a poor team. When we look at, on a picks and props sort of basis, we should see Sabrina go on the under. So Sabrina Ionescu, 18.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Nneka Ogwumike. Now, as you all know, Nneka is a great player for none other than the actual Seattle Storm. And this one is for 17.5 points, and this one is for less. Now, looking at Nneka, we've actually seen her do very well, but she has gone on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, you see on May 20th, faced off against Dallas, where she actually had 23 points there. Then on May 24th, faced off against Phoenix, where she had 24 points. Then May 26th, faced off against Las Vegas Aces, had 23 points there. And then on May 28th, against Minnesota, had 11 points. After that, against Atlanta, 16 points on May 31st. So we have actually seen Nneka do, a decent job in some games, but it also has gone on the under in the last 2. And her average over the last 5 is also 19.4. Now, Seattle Storm do find themselves in an interesting position because they face off against the Las Vegas Aces. Now, looking at both of these teams, we do see Seattle Storm have had themselves a pretty decent season so far. Now, they have only played 6 games, but they do currently rank 6th in the WNBA. And on top of that, have a 3-3 record. So 3 losses, 3 wins, 50% win rate. So not too bad and not too shabby. And they face off against the Aces, who have somewhat of a similar record, as they do rank 5th. And Aces do have a record of 3 wins and 2 losses. So they have a 60% win rate. Because of that, it does put them 1 step or 1 slot above when it comes to ranking. But we are expecting a very, very intense game from both of these teams. Now, looking at Nneka, we have seen her do a great job offensively. Yes, that is true. And obviously, we have seen they faced off against, the Aces on May 26th, and Nneka actually got 23 points and, did go over on her line. However, we are expecting a different outcome in this next game. Now, when we look at the Las Vegas Aces, we do see that they rank 9th when it comes to points allowed. But a big reason why we do like the under for this situation here is that Aces actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to the forward position, which is what Nneka does play. Now, although she did go on the over in that most recent game against the Aces, guys, girls, there are going to be times where players do go and break their lines. And although the math was adding up to her going on the under, she ended up having a hot game, and she did actually end up scoring 23. But we should see her come back down to reality. She started off with a great hot streak in those first 3 games. It's brought this line a little bit too high, that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under. And that's what we have seen in the most recent 2 games. Only 11 points against Minnesota, only 16 against Atlanta. So we are expecting those types of numbers in this next match up for someone like Nneka against the Las Vegas Aces. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for a situation like this. When we look at the pace of this game, we aren't really expecting a super fast-paced game, maybe a little bit on the slower side. And as we all know, a little bit less space means less volume and less opportunity to score, even rebound, and even assist. So really take into account all of that. But this one is focused on points, and that's why we do like the under for this situation here. So Nneka Ogwumike for 17.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Tina Charles. So as you all know, Tina Charles, great player for none other than the actual Connecticut Sun. So this one is the same matchup that we talked about in the first pick, but this one is for 16.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Tina Charles, we've actually seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, you see on May 21st, faced off against the Las Vegas Aces, and she had 20 points in that matchup. Then May 24th, faced off against Minnesota, where she had 4 points there. May 26th, faced off against Atlanta, and then had 11 points. Then May 28th, against Dallas, actually had 27 points. After that, May 31st, faced off against Indiana, where she had 18 points there. So we have actually seen Tina Charles go on the under in 2 out of the last 5, and her average over the last 5 is also 16. So significantly below this line as well. Now, when we look at actually, Tina Charles and Connecticut Sun, as we all know, they face off against New York Liberty. Now, New York Liberty, we have already touched on, but just to reiterate again, New York Liberty do have a record of 6-0. They are undefeated right now and actually have the #1 spot in the WNBA. Now, on the other side of things, you also do see that, when it comes to Connecticut, they are on the other side of the table. They do actually rank 12th in the WNBA. And on top of that, also have a 1-5 record. So 1 win, 5 losses, hasn't really been the best for them. But when we look at someone like Tina Charles, we do very much, like this situation here, because New York Liberty, we do see when it comes to points allowed, they do rank #1. So this was just kind of a no-brainer to us. We do see that, after that, Tina Charles has actually, a very, very tough defensive team in New York Liberty, and it may be too much for Tina Charles to handle. And that's why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, when we look at someone like Tina Charles, just to give a bit more of I would say sort of history when it comes to that. We see on May 24th, they faced off against Minnesota. Now, Minnesota do actually rank 3rd when it comes to points allowed. So they're a very tough defensive team, and we saw her only get 4 points in that matchup. So unfortunately, like I said, Connecticut Sun aren't really the greatest team, and we definitely have seen Tina Charles struggle to score when it comes to better defensive teams, and especially when it comes to better defensive teams against points. And that's what we are expecting in this next matchup. We should see someone like Tina Charles go on the under due to those reasons, and we definitely do and are favoring more of the under in this situation here. Now, when you look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have a favorite for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. So for that reason, all signs point towards the under. So Tina Charles, 16.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. All right, so as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Natasha Cloud. So as you all know, Natasha Cloud is a great player for none other than the New York Liberty. And New York Liberty have been doing a decent job so far this season. But we do also see that Natasha Cloud has been averaging 11.3 points, 4.5 rebounds, 6.8 assists, while also getting 1.8 steals. Now, when we look at New York Liberty, I would kind of say they're doing a little bit better than just average, because they are currently on a massive run where they are 6-0 so far in the WNBA. So they've been on an absolute tear. They have done a great job. They've versed some tough teams here and there, but overall, I think have just done a great job as a team. Now, when we look at New York Liberty, they do actually rank #1 in the WNBA so far, and they definitely are looking to continue this run as they face off against none other than Connecticut Sun. Now, this is going to be an exciting game. Obviously, Connecticut Sun and New York Liberty, we do see Connecticut Sun have had a pretty tough start to the season. They currently rank 12th in the NBA with a 1-5 record. So they have a 16.7% win percentage as of right now. So it hasn't really looked too good for Connecticut so far. Now, when we look at this matchup even further, we do see Connecticut Sun, when it comes to points allowed, we see that they rank 11th. When it comes to assists allowed, we see that they rank 8th. And then rebounds allowed, we also see Connecticut Sun rank pretty low as they rank 9th. So when it comes to someone like Natasha Cloud, although she is a little bit lower in the points, rebounds, and assists category, I wouldn't say has the highest in all 3 categories, we still see someone of her caliber being able to go on the over. Now, a one that you definitely want to keep an eye out for is definitely assists. I definitely think she has a capability to go on the over in all 3 of those categories, whether it's points, rebounds, and assists, but we tend to see her have a bit of a higher usage rate in the assist department, and that's why we could definitely expect someone like Natasha Cloud being able to really play make for this team. But I think all 3 categories, she definitely still has a capability to go on the over. Now, looking at her last 5 games, she's definitely had some big games. We see on the 23rd of May, they faced off against Chicago, 99-74 win, and she had 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 8 assists in that matchup, so she did a fantastic job there. And the next matchup against Indiana, 90-88 win, and she had 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists there. Then faced off against Golden State with a 95-67 victory, so big victory for them. She only had 5 points, 3 rebounds, but still dished out 10 assists in their matchup. And faced off against Golden State again in a sort of back-to-back, and she had 7 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in that matchup. Then faced off against Washington, where she had 0 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. So we definitely have seen her usage rate be, very high at times, other times not too much. But we think against a team like Connecticut Sun, we should see her be able to take advantage of this and be able to go on the over. Like I mentioned before, when it comes to New York Liberty, they are a decent team in a sense of, their offense being very fast-paced, so they got a good amount of pace there. So, we definitely see there being a lot of pace in this matchup and enough to see someone like Natasha Cloud go on the over in this situation. So definitely keep an eye out for all 3 categories. I don't really think you need to focus on any. She does, I would say, just as a kind of reminder or pointer, that she does have the highest usage rate in that assist, and then also rebounds and points she still does have a decent usage rate at, and steals is also pretty good as well. But I think overall, you definitely want to keep an eye out for all 3. As I always mention, when it comes to the lines, keep an eye out for the line first. If the line is under her averages, then definitely look to go on the over there. So keep an eye out for Natasha Cloud. Now getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Kalani Brown. So Kalani Brown, great player from none other than Phoenix Mercury. Now she's a great big man. She has been playing fantastic. Now she has averaged 7.2 points, 3.2 rebounds, and also has dished out 0.5 assists. So her stat line isn't, sort of MVP type numbers, but she's definitely been a great asset to this Phoenix Mercury team. Now, when we look at Phoenix Mercury, obviously, when we look at their record so far, they have a good record. They do come in at the 4th spot in the WNBA and have a 4-2 record, a 66.7% win percentage. So definitely, a very good record, at least in the top half, which I think is fantastic. But it's also very early on in the season, so anything can really happen. But looking at, Phoenix Mercury and the matchup that they face off against, Mercury face off against the Sparks, or LA Sparks at that. Now, LA Sparks have been on the other side of the table because they actually come in at the 11th spot in, the WNBA rankings. They do have a record of 2-5, so 2 wins, 5 losses, 28.6% win percentage, so hasn't really been the best for them out there. But when it comes to Kalani Brown, we definitely are, liking these picks because we do see, when it comes to this matchup, LA Sparks do actually rank, when it comes to points allowed, they rank 8th, assists allowed, they do rank 9th, and then rebounds allowed, we also do see that the Sparks rank, pretty well in it, as they do rank first. So they actually rank very high in that rebounding category. Now, when it comes to someone like Kalani Brown, we definitely do like the over, but strictly just for points. And a big reason being is that, like I mentioned, LA Sparks do have a very, very high defensive rating when it comes to restricting rebounds, so we are expecting that from, LA Sparks coming into this game. And on top of that, when you look at assists, Kalani Brown doesn't really do too much playmaking out there. When we are looking at her last 5 games, we haven't really seen too much playmaking, and points and rebounds is definitely where most of her usage rate usually is. And speaking of those last 5 games, we see they faced off against LA on the 22nd of this month. She had 0 assists in that matchup, but had 5 rebounds and 6 points there. Then faced off against Seattle with a 77-70 loss. She had 6 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then faced off against Washington Mystics with a 68-62 win score. Had a 7.2 rebound, 0 assist performance. Then faced off against Chicago, 94-89. And they had 5 points, 3 rebounds, and also 0 assists there. After that, on the 31st, faced off against Minnesota very recently. Had a 74-71 loss. So very, very close game. But she had 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist. So we definitely seen her, scoring be very consistent. Yes, she may not have gone on the over in every single game, but the consistency is definitely there, especially against teams that are a bit tougher when it comes to defensively and defending that points category. But the fact that, Sparks do rank very low, we should see someone like Kalani Brown being able to take advantage of this. And due to the fact that she is a center, we also do see that LA Sparks don't really do a great job at restricting points to the center position. So we should see someone like Kalani Brown be able to take advantage of this and go on the over there. So keep an eye out for her line. Like I mentioned, focus in a little bit more on points. We can definitely see her going on the over there. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Erica Wheeler. Now, Erica Wheeler, great player, as we all know, from none other than the actual Seattle Storm. Now, she's in a, a great team in a sense that she has, a decent usage rate, which I think is fantastic to see. Now, looking at her stats so far this season, we've actually seen her average 10 points, 2.8 rebounds, 3.3 assists, and 0.5 steals. So, a decent usage rate in all three departments, which I think is great. Now, when we look at, a team like Seattle Storm have had a decent start to the season. They currently rank 6th in the WNBA with a 3-3 record. So 3 wins, 3 losses, 50% win percentage, which I would say is not too bad. Okay, and they verse on the other side of things. They face off against the Las Vegas Aces. Now, Las Vegas Aces haven't really had, an amazing start, but they still find themselves in a really good position because they actually currently rank 5th in the WNBA. They have 3 wins, 2 losses, and they have a 60% win percentage. So a lot of people were thinking the Aces would be, more at that 1, 2, or even 3 spot. They find themselves at 5th, but like I mentioned, it is still very early on in the season, so anything can still really happen. Now, looking at Las Vegas Aces defensively, we do see that the Aces do rank 9th when it comes to points allowed. When it comes to assists allowed, we see that they rank 12th, and then they also rank 12th when it comes to rebounds allowed. We really haven't seen, Las Vegas Aces do a great job defensively throughout the whole season so far, and we are expecting that in this next game, and that's why we do like the over for someone like Erica Wheeler. Now, she does have a little bit of a higher usage rate in points, so it's definitely where I think you can definitely focus on. But what we have seen with Erica Wheeler, even though she only averages 2.8 rebounds and 3.3 assists, she's still very active and very consistent at getting boards and also playmaking. So I think all 3 categories, even though her average in rebound and assist is a little bit lower, I definitely still see her being able to go on the over in all 3 categories due to the fact that Aces also are a very poor defensive team. And we definitely see someone like Erica Wheeler being able to take advantage of this. Now, when we look at Erica Wheeler's last 5 games, we definitely have seen her put up some pretty good numbers. Now, we saw on the 20th, they faced off against Dallas, where she actually had 3 points, 1 rebound, and 0 assists there with 11 minutes of play. And they actually won 79-71. Then they faced off against Phoenix on 77-70 sort of win with 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists there. After that, faced off against Las Vegas, and this is where we start to see a similarity. 102-82 win. She had 21 points, 3 rebounds, and also 7 assists there. So she actually beat her averages, pretty much beat her line in all 3 categories during their matchup. So that's another telltale sign to us there. Moving on from that game, though, on the 28th, faced off against Minnesota, 82-77 loss, but still had 10 points, 3 rebounds, and also 3 assists. Then after that, faced off against Atlanta, 94-87 loss, where she had 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists there. So she did go on the over in all 3 categories. So we have definitely seen when Seattle Storm, and specifically Erica Wheeler, when she does go up against teams that are very, very poor defensive teams, we tend to see Erica Wheeler be able to take advantage of that and go on the over on her line. She has a really good usage rate in all 3 departments. She's very active out there on offense and on defense, and that's why coming into this next one against the Aces, like what she did last game where she had 21 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, we are expecting, I wouldn't say the exact same numbers, but we are expecting her to have a good amount of usage rate out there and, really fill in that stat sheet for sure. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Erica Wheeler. I think all 3 categories definitely have the capability to see her go on the over, so definitely keep an eye out there. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Golden State Valkyrie. So Golden State Valkyrie, great, team. And we're going to be talking about Veronica Burton to be more specific. Now, Veronica Burton, great player for the Valkyries, and she's been averaging 10.2 points, 4.6 rebounds, 4.4 assists, while also shooting 2.4 steals she's been averaging. Apologies for that. Now, when we look at Golden State Valkyries, we do see that they face off against a tough Minnesota Lynx team. Now, Minnesota Lynx have, definitely shown out this season. Now, they do find themselves second, but they still do have the same record as the number 1 team, but they are currently ranked second. They have a 6-0 record, so 6 wins, 0 losses, 100% win rate for Minnesota Lynx, and Golden State do find themselves at the 8th spot with 2 wins and 3 losses, which is a 40% win rate. So a little bit difference in record there. Now, when we look at someone like Veronica Burton against a Minnesota Lynx team, we do see Minnesota Lynx, they do rank 3rd in points allowed. They also rank when it comes to assists allowed 6th, and then rebounds allowed, they do also rank 4th. So Minnesota do rank, high to mid tier in all 3 categories, and we definitely still see that being enough to see someone like Veronica Burton go on the under here. Now, when it comes to, someone like Veronica, not only has she been a huge asset to this team, but on top of that, she is a guard. And what we have seen is that Minnesota Lynx do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to their guard position. So you definitely see someone like Veronica, struggling because of those reasons. Minnesota Lynx, they're in a position where they are 6-0, and a big reason for that is off the back of their defense. And I definitely see that continuing on into this next game, no doubt about it. So for that reason, I would definitely keep an eye out for the under. Now, when we look at our last 5 games, you see on the 17th of this month, we saw them face off against the LA Sparks, 84-67 loss, where she had 2 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists there. Then face off against Washington Mystics, had a 76-74 win, 22 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists there. After that, face off against the LA Sparks, 82-73 win, 12 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists there, with also 5 steals. And then New York Liberty faced off 95-67 loss, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. And then face off against Liberty again, where she had 2 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. So definitely an interesting one there. Now, like I mentioned, I don't really think you need to focus on any, but as I always mention, you want to just keep an eye out for the lines in general. And like I always mention, if the line is too close to her averages, then definitely look to go on the under there. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Veronica Burton. We definitely like the under for this situation for her.